Episode 14. Far more is possible than you imagine. Aum Namapegavaith Vasudevya. Imagine this. It is May 1953. The wind howls across the Himalayas. Temperatures fall far below freezing. Every step demands extraordinary effort. For decades, the world believed Mount Everest was simply too difficult to conquer. Many had tried. Many had failed. Some never returned home. Then two climbers, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, reached the summit. The mountain did not become smaller that day. Human belief became bigger. History quietly teaches us a remarkable truth. The greatest limits we face are often not around us. They are within us. If you want to unlock more of your potential, overcome self-imposed limitations, and discover what you are truly capable of becoming, stay with me until the very end. Because today's principle has inspired explorers, scientists, entrepreneurs, athletes, and spiritual masters to achieve what once seemed impossible. Every extraordinary achievement begins with one courageous thought. Perhaps this can be done. Before airplanes, people believed humans were never meant to fly. Before space exploration, the moon seemed unreachable. Before the internet, instant global communication felt unimaginable. Every generation inherits impossible dreams, only to watch the next generation turn them into ordinary reality. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that the divine potential already exists within every human being. The challenge is rarely the absence of ability. The challenge is the absence of belief, discipline, and persistent action. Swami Vivekananda famously declared, "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." Those words continue to inspire millions, not because they promise an easy journey, but because they remind us that greatness belongs to those who continue moving forward. Imagine an eagle raised among chickens. Every day it watches the chickens scratch the ground. Slowly, it begins believing that scratching the ground is all life has to offer. One day, another eagle flies high above. The young eagle looks toward the sky. For the first time, it realizes, I was created for something greater. How many people live like that young eagle? Surrounded by limitations they never questioned. Listening to opinions instead of possibilities. Accepting average when excellence quietly waits within them. Let me tell you a story. A young engineer joined a growing company. He admired senior leaders, but he never imagined becoming one. Whenever opportunities appeared, he would quietly step aside. I'm not ready. I don't have enough experience. There are better people. One afternoon, his mentor invited him into the boardroom. Looking around the table, the mentor asked, "What do you see?" The young engineer replied, "Leaders." The mentor smiled. "I see ordinary people who simply decided to accept extraordinary responsibility." That sentence changed everything. The young engineer stopped waiting to feel ready. He started preparing to become ready. Years later, he wasn't merely sitting in the boardroom. He was leading it. The greatest transformation wasn't his position. It was his mindset. If today's message reminds you that your future is often limited more by belief than by ability, pause for a moment and write one word in the comments. Possible. Because every meaningful achievement begins by believing that something greater is possible. Now here's something fascinating. Psychologists often speak about the power of expectations. When people genuinely believe growth is possible, they tend to learn faster, persist longer, and recover more effectively from setbacks. Belief alone does not create success. But without belief, most people never begin. Henry Ford is often credited with saying, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't. You're probably right. Whether those are his exact words or not, the principle remains powerful. Your mind becomes the first battlefield. Win there, and the external battles become much easier. Imagine planting a tiny banyan seed. Looking at that seed, could anyone imagine the enormous tree hidden within it? Yet, the potential already exists. The tree does not become something new. It simply becomes what it was always capable of becoming. Human potential works the same way. Success is often not becoming someone else. It is becoming more completely yourself. Peter Drucker wisely observed, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." Creation requires imagination, vision, courage, responsibility. No architect begins with bricks. The building first exists in the mind. Every business, every invention, every movement, every masterpiece was once only an idea. In today's boardrooms, the companies transforming industries ask different questions. Not, what has always been done, but what has never been attempted. Innovation begins where limiting beliefs end. Chanakya advised rulers to think beyond immediate circumstances and prepare for opportunities others could not yet see. Vision has always separated leaders from followers. Leaders don't merely respond to the future. They help create it. But here's where everything changes. Imagine standing beside a river. At first, it appears impossible for water to carve through solid rock. Yet year after year, drop after drop, the river patiently shapes the mountain. Not because water is stronger than stone, but because persistence eventually accomplishes what force alone cannot. The greatest achievements in life rarely happen because of one extraordinary effort. They happen because ordinary efforts are repeated with extraordinary consistency. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that we have a right to action, not to immediate results. Think deeply about that. Your responsibility is to sow the seed, to water it, to protect it. The harvest will come in its own season. Too many dreams are abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because people expected instant success. If today's message reminds you that greatness belongs to those who keep moving forward, write one word in the comments. Believe. Because belief becomes powerful only when it is supported by disciplined action. There is another lesson from nature. Have you ever watched a bamboo tree grow? For years, very little appears above the ground. Many people assume nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, an extraordinary root system is quietly developing. Then suddenly, the bamboo grows rapidly. People call it an overnight success. Nature quietly smiles. There are no overnight successes. There are only unseen years of preparation. Life works exactly the same way. The promotion people admire, the successful business, the healthy body, the peaceful family, the financial freedom, the spiritual maturity. All of them have invisible roots. Never compare your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 20. Your journey has its own timing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. The obstacle becomes the way." Read that again. The obstacle becomes the way. The very difficulty you fear today may become the reason for tomorrow's strength. Many successful entrepreneurs first experienced failure. Many celebrated athletes first experienced defeat. Many respected leaders first experienced rejection. Failure is not always the opposite of success. Often, it is one of its greatest teachers. In today's boardrooms, the most admired organizations encourage thoughtful experimentation. They understand something remarkable. If people are afraid to fail, they eventually become afraid to innovate. And organizations that stop innovating eventually stop leading. The same principle applies to life. If fear controls your decisions, potential quietly remains undiscovered. Chanakya advised that courage without wisdom becomes recklessness. But wisdom without courage becomes wasted potential. Both are necessary. Vision must be supported by action. Action must be guided by wisdom. Imagine a sculptor standing before an enormous block of marble. To everyone else, it appears to be only stone. The sculptor sees something different, a masterpiece waiting to be revealed. Michelangelo is famously associated with the idea that he simply removed everything that wasn't part of the sculpture. Whether those exact words are remembered perfectly or not, the lesson remains timeless. Greatness often appears, not by adding more, but by removing fear, removing excuses, removing doubt, removing procrastination. Your greatest potential may already exist within you. It simply needs the courage to emerge. There is another possibility many people overlook. Spiritual possibility. Human beings often ask, what can I achieve? A deeper question is, who can I become? Success without character is fragile. Success with wisdom becomes legacy. Success with compassion becomes service. Success, guided by the divine, becomes dharma fulfilled. Before you begin tomorrow, ask yourself one simple question. What would I attempt if I truly believed that with discipline, learning, perseverance, and God's grace, far more is possible than I currently imagine? That one question, repeated every morning, can quietly transform your future. If today's episode inspired you to think beyond limitations and act with greater courage, subscribe and continue this journey with us. Every episode is designed to help us unlock our highest potential, strengthen our character, and live with greater wisdom and purpose. Share this episode with someone who has stopped believing in themselves, because one conversation can awaken a dream that has been sleeping for years. Together, let us become better individuals, build stronger families, create a better society, and leave behind a better world for future generations. Remember, dream boldly, prepare patiently, learn continuously, act courageously, persevere faithfully, and remain humble throughout the journey. Because your present circumstances do not define your future. Your fears do not define your destiny. Your setbacks do not determine your limits. With faith, with discipline, with persistent effort, and with the grace of the divine, far more is possible than you imagine. May we replace doubt with faith, replace fear with courage, replace excuses with disciplined action, replace limiting beliefs with purposeful vision. May every day become an opportunity to discover the extraordinary potential already placed within us, to serve others with our gifts, and to fulfill our dharma with wisdom, humility, and unwavering perseverance. Aum Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.